Welcome to the simple bubble frame tutorial. We are going to show you how to use the app from start to finish in a simplified version. First of all, you're going to tap to begin anywhere on the screen. Once you have your white background, you can see the choices at the bottom from Fill Canvas. Style pretty much has to do with your canvas, and text is a straight text option. The square box around that lets you know that that's for the canvas. We're going to go ahead and create a bubble. Leave the canvas blank for now, so we're going to go ahead and pinch, and you just bring your fingers in and out to determine the size of the bubble. Once you get the size you like, this little menu will pop up, and it is asking you if you would like to fill it with a color, a pattern, or a photo. The recent is just the most recent colors you've chosen, so if you're building more than one bubble, it helps you to maintain the same color aspects. We are going to go ahead and just fill the with a photo at this time. So once you hit photo, your photo options will come up, and we're going to go to camera roll. Bear with me as I scroll to find the picture I want to use. We are going to use this one as a horse. So at this point, once you fill the bubble, it takes you into the bubble screen that will let you manipulate the bubble. You can see at the top here, you have a little picture that is hung. This lets you decide what part of the picture you want seen in the bubble, and you can make the picture closer or further away just by pinching and moving around. So if you want just the clouds, you can resize the picture to just have the clouds show, and then you can roll it around if you just want the horse with the sun ray. For this tutorial, want the horse to be shown, and you can see that if you move the picture out of range of the bubble, it will pop back into place. So that is about where I want my picture to be, about right there. Then we can decide, so once the picture is shown, right of the little picture frame are the 4 arrowed corners. That helps you determine your position, and you can put that anywhere on your screen. The right of that, the arrow within a bubble, that's your size. And with this function, you can either swipe up and down, and it will go larger or smaller, or you can pinch to make it go larger or smaller. It's totally up to you. I usually just swipe with my finger till I determine the size. Once I've determined the size and I want to reposition, the right of that is a little target, and that's your snap to grid. And so if you wanted it dead center, this is how you would do it, or it lets you move it off to the side. This really helps if you're using text or even adding more bubbles. A little helpful hint right here is this little 3-lined box. This brings up a little menu, and what I like to do is, if you're setting your grid rows, obviously the grid rows isn't letting me put it in the lower right corner where I want it, so I'm going to set my grid rows, and you have all these options 3 through 12 to set your grid rows. So we'll just set it at 12. That way I can get it in the corner where I want it without it going out, but I know it's even on my bottom and on my bottom or right side. So once I have it positioned where I want it and I have the size I want to go and manipulate the border. And to manipulate the border down at the bottom, I can change my picture in the fill bubble section, change my border, the style of the picture, and then text around the picture. And then you obviously have your share button with the little camera. Right now we're going to choose border, and this lets me do my border width, inner and outer gradient if you want it to be rounded, or if you want it to have a shine on it there at the bottom. The color, that is where I can go and manipulate my color of the border just by moving around into the different color aspects. I'm going to just go to my recent because there was a cream color I had used before, so I'm just going to hit this cream. I'm going to close that out. And then I want to go back into border because I wanted to resize it and I forgot. So I'm going to go back into border and take my border slider and change my border width. And I just want a really small, thin border. So I'm going to close that. Now, to style the picture, or the bubble, there's a shadow and a tint option. The shadow changes the shadow that's behind the picture or behind the bubble. And so you can change the darkness, the opacity. You can completely take it away by manipulating the sliders if you don't want it there at all. I, however, want to leave a bubble with a shadow. So I'm just going to put the shadow back. The tint feature, if you click on tint, that's going to fade or tint your picture. And then your opacity, you can make it opaque if you wanted to have what's behind it show through. So to fade, it obviously just makes it lighter, and that's about as, at 100%. Or tint makes it darker. And then you've got your opacity, which will thin it to almost non-existent. For this, I want the opacity to be 100%. So now that I have my general bubble where I want it, I need to decide how I want text on my picture, or if I want a pattern. So I've dismissed my bubble menu, and I want to go to Fill Canvas. So I'm going to click on Fill Canvas, and up pops another menu that asks me if I want to do a color, where I can easily change the color. I can go to Recents if I wanted to match one that I've done in the past, and that's the same color as my border right now. I can do another photo, and that's just picking another photo from my camera roll, and say I just wanted to do that. Not that it would look decent at all, but it would put your photo, and it kind of thins out the picture so you see what's going on behind. So you know if you need to adjust your placement, you'll see the adjust button come up. And then you just lock it in place. Seeing as I don't really want the picture of the hat behind the horse picture, I'm going to fill my canvas, and I would like a pattern back there. And so we come into our pattern picker, and we have some set patterns that come. We also change them out monthly, or as close to monthly as possible. Usually they'll be themed for holidays or seasons, but if you choose one of these, you can make it to manipulate the picture to look better. Or if you want to go into archives to see what we have in archives, the little button on the right has a little box at the bottom. You go ahead and click on that, and it will go take you to our pattern archive. And just to keep the app sized down, we have archived these, but they're always available. So if I wanted to choose, let's go to Vintage 2013, and I'm going to choose this writing. Basically, it's downloading it from the server. You can choose another one, and if it's one I haven't used in the past, it will say Getting Pattern, and that's just as it downloads. There's a little wait time for that. So you can kind of see all the different patterns that we've offered, and they are completely free. I'm going to go back to this brown writing. I really like the script on this. I'm going to go to back, and then I'm just going to be done with the pattern, so I'm going to click on the arrow and then click close. So here I have this pattern on the back. I want to go ahead and style it. I don't want it to show up that much, so I can tint it. I can fade it out so it lightens it up, so it just brings the picture more in the forefront. You can also darken it just like the other pictures, so it's still there, but your picture really pops. Or you can change your opacity. So basically that's just thinning it out. So I'm going to just fade it a hair, about 50%. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that. So now I want to add some writing, and with Bubble Frame, you can do circle text around your bubbles, or you can do a straight text. The straight text option is just the one with the square. You can click on that, and this looks exactly like the circle text. You just have to decide what you want to put. So if I was to put peaceful in there, as you can see, it's a straight text. Then I can go into my font, and it comes with a lot of fonts with the app. There's also an option to download your own fonts with into the app, and we will go through those little tricks later in a more pro version of a tutorial. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and choose which text I want to use, and like I said, there comes a lot. I'm going to choose this one. Is that Fino? And then with this, you can change your size. fairly large. So if you have a symbol or if you have something like Rana Designs that is you can download into the app, this is a great way to do it. So if I wanted to place my word right there, I think that looks fantastic. You can style it by changing the color, your opacity, add an outline if you choose. So if I wanted to choose a color, I can do white, or I can go to my recents. And my recents is, so like if I wanted to match my bubble border, it's there. Now it's, because it's kind of matching and it loses itself in the picture, I can go with a darker version of this darker brown, or I can pick a new color altogether that I think is gonna play on the picture a lot better. So if I choose, say that, you know, the brown again, and then I just wanna just kind of make it opaque a little. So you can choose your opacity. You can even add a shadow if you wanted to manipulate the words even further. And that's just basically you choosing how you want your shadow to place, just like you did on the bubble. So if I say, okay, I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and share it. We'll give you all these different sharing options, plus your high resolution option. Obviously, Instagram does not allow high resolution. So if you wanted to have a version that's high res, you need to save it to your camera roll and then put it into Instagram through the Instagram app. If you're not worried about the resolution, then go ahead and just load it straight to Instagram. I'm going to go ahead and close that. I want to show you the circle text. And like I said, it's basically the same. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this out and get out of the straight text option. This is where you would tap on the bubble and you would hit circle text and you would add in your text, and as you can see, it goes right around the bubble. And then you manipulate it just like the other one. So I am going to do it pretty close to the other one so you can see. So I'm going to go down to the Zapfino text. And then to position it, you have this rotation button. The rotation button obviously just rotates it right around your bubble. And the offset, so say I wanted it inside my bubble or further outside within the canvas. And then the kerning just makes it wider and thinner. So say I want to increase my size, and then I'm going to rotate it around. Obviously I have to come fairly far around. And then I'm going to take my kerning and manipulate it around. I want it to come pretty close to both ends, just like that. Now I'm going to change my style. I want to go ahead and use the recent color. I'm going to go with that darker brown in my recent colors. And then I want to change the offset position so that it's laying more on the bubble, like it's written right on it. And obviously you can use the plus and minus to fine tune. So once I want to go to style, and then I'm going to make this opaque so it looks like it's almost part of the canvas instead of being part of the bubble picture. And another way to do this is if I was to change my color text to the same as my bubble, and then I go back to my opacity, and it almost looks like it's just part of the writing that's in the background. And that's just a different way to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back to brown, change my opacity back down, and then once I'm done with, because it'll take you back to this bubble menu screen, I'm going to go ahead and hit dismiss, and I am ready to share my picture. So I'll hit the little camera, choose my resolution. I always save to camera roll in high res, save it. And then once I'm ready to go to Instagram, I will open up my Instagram app and share from there. This completes our simple tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. We are going to do a pro tutorial that helps you add more bubbles, do some really fun things with the bubbles, to do collages, and some fun things with the patterns. So we hope you join us for the pro tutorial.